and Martin when he gets here.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Cool. Whenever you guys are.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. If you're listening to this podcast, you can hear it at Art19, iTunes, and at allthingscomedy.com. And if you go to allthingscomedy.com, it's a podcast site that has a host of other comics who have their own podcasts with different topics. Bill Burr has his podcast. He also has another podcast called the Bill Burt Podcast. So that's with Bill Burr and Burt Kreischer. That's a lot of B's to say at one time. Eddie Pepitone has a podcast on there. Cameron Esposito's podcast. Teenage Self. There's just tons of funny, some of the best comics in the world with their own podcasts on this website. Tom Popper, Bobby Lee, Tiger Belly. So, you know, we got a list of people with their own podcasts, and it's a great site. Harlan Williams, the Harlan Highway. You get the picture. So check that site out. Also, if you're watching, or if you don't know, you could watch this podcast and see my handsome ass face on YouTube at Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards. And also my album is out, and it's on Pandora, and it's going to be coming to all the other audio sites like Sirius and Spotify. So right now it's on Pandora, but keep checking out for it's called Ian Talk, produced by Bill Burr. Our sponsor is onthevolleyapparel.com, and if you go to onthevolleyapparel.com and use my promo code Comic Rant, you can get tanks, tees, hoodies, jerseys, and hats for men and for women with hip hop soccer logos and emblems on the front of them. So go to the site and check it out. It's Christmas time. If you want to get some stuff for some people, don't tell them you got all the stuff for 20% off. But, you know, they got some nice stuff there. And if you like hip hop and you like soccer, this site has a combination of gear with both. So go to onthevolleyapparel.com. Use my promo code Comic Rant. We're going to have two guests today. You see one right now. His name is Neil Chakravarty, comic from San Diego, and Chelsea fan. And what up, Neil?
Hey, feeling good.
You're feeling good?
Good to be back.
Good to be back. You mean on the podcast, or you went somewhere?
No, on the podcast.
On the podcast. Man. Always good to have you.
Yeah.
So this is, I don't know, it's weird. There's you know, the world and soccer collide again. And I was going to come on, and the first thing we was going to talk about was Manchester United. And the second thing we was going to talk about was Pogba and Manchester United and Mino Raiola. But everything got trumped today with Istanbul versus PSG. And the first time I've ever seen a referee get a red card. Yeah. And so I don't know how much you know. I don't know if everything's still clear. I don't know what's going on. But tell me what you know from today.
So obviously I was not watching the game because I was watching Chelsea game, but I was, had a screen open with two other games, and this was the fourth game because I was trying to watch the United game and the, Ronaldo versus Messi game.
Right.
And so I don't think anybody was paying attention to what was happening in PSG versus Istanbul. Mm-hmm. But then suddenly, like around halftime, I think this was, I think a little after halftime, when this thing happened, this showed up, Twitter blew up with this. And initially it was, it seemed like a very standard thing because you keep seeing these instances every few weeks or so of some form of, especially when it goes on to the continental game, right? Like some player from some team. But surprise, this time it was one of the officials doing it. And so the instance seems to have been, there was an altercation, there was a foul. There was a foul given, and then there was, obviously as benches do, there are some, there were some members of the Istanbul backroom staff who were being very loud, I guess, and that led to the fourth official telling the main referee to give him a red, and while saying that, he pretty much used I think this is Romanian referee.
Yeah. So I'm reading it. I can.
Yeah.
So the Romanian official said "ala negru," which translates to the black one.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to say like who should get the yellow card or the red card,
Right.
and he pretty much went for that is what he went back to describe, which I think I've seen like a lot of commentary in the last few hours with a lot of people trying to give some benefit of doubt, but saying maybe it's a cultural thing. We saw something similar with the whole Cavani incident.
Right.
Last week, right? But my point is like, even if it is a cultural incident, why is that what I mean? What you go by to describe somebody, regardless of what ethnicity or color of skin that person is, and B, I mean, you're living in, at least now you're living in an age and a year which is synonymous with. There's been so much of awareness on this.
The players just kneeled before the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, for some reason, like people think that this is dissimilar to. I mean, maybe it was not racist, but it was definitely racial. The acts that the fourth official committed. And I think it was very nice to see what, first of all, it's nice to see the Istanbul players. And I realized later on that Dembaba is part of, and Dembaba has spoken very strongly and eloquently on the issue of racism in sports over the last few years. So for sure, like, he was not going to let this slide. And I mean, nobody should, but we know this is somebody who's taken a leadership role on this issue in European football, and it was really good to see even the the PSG players backing I think Mbappe led the team away, and Neymar later on said, well, if these guys are not coming back, then we are not coming back either. So I think the worst thing that could have happened is if Istanbul didn't turn up, and then if PSG were not on the same page. And you know how UEFA works on things like this. They stick to the bloody rule book, and they would have gone down the lane of doing a forfeit or something, and that would have been really.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. PSG would have still went through. Like Man United.
Yeah, but after an entire half season of doing the right things on this matter, if you then go ahead and completely go the other way with just because of a technicality of a forfeiture, it would have looked really bad on the sport itself. So I actually believe that the players saved UEFA on this one. They took the decision out of UEFA's hands.
Right.
I don't trust UEFA or FIFA for that matter to make the right calls on incidents like this.
Right. Well, there's a few things I have to say, and they go in all different directions. So, first, if you want to give the ref the benefit of the doubt, he said, "ala negru," which means the black one. He's from Romania, so that might be how they refer to black people there. So it might not be considered racist. So there's that possibility, right?
Yeah.
So maybe. I don't know. Never been to Romania. I don't have any Romanian friends. Then there's the language of like just every country in Europe or every country in the world and its subtleties, like in football, like, I was kind of divorced from football. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure I'm not disconnected. And I
can hear you. I think we might have lost.
I can hear you.
So we lost Neil.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Okay, we're back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very racist of you, Neil, when I'm talking about a black issue, to have bad internet. It's very disrespectful after what you just said.
The corporate warlords here. What can you expect from Time Warner?
So Time Warner's racist. Good to know, Time Warner. So when I'm watching, so I was divorced from European soccer for a while, just because we didn't have it in America. It wasn't available. Yeah. But I remember the first 100 times I've heard an English coach refer to a player as the boy. And I'm like, that doesn't fly here. But in England, everybody knows the boy could mean the white player, it could mean the black player, it could mean the Asian player. But boy is bad in America. You cannot refer to a black person as boy. So then I have to think about the context of how things would be seen as an insult, even by England, a country that has a close relationship in America, where something like that is not an insult, not even close. Like for me, what Cavani got accused of, like hearing the boy was, when in reference from a white coach to a black player, for the first 1,000 times was way harsher than what, Cavani was accused of in a tweet. So, so I'm just laying everything out. So they have a la Negro, you have white coaches in England going the boy, and in reference to black players and white players. But when it's in reference to a black player, if it's just something, and I actually kind of think that they don't say it anymore because it's being broadcast in America, and I think they've been told. Because do you notice that you don't hear that anymore?
Yeah.
So that's weird that you don't hear that anymore. Something that was entrenched, and it was in reference to like grown ass men, didn't matter what age. So then there's that. So that's where the benefit of doubt thing comes in for the Romanian referee. Also,
but I think.
But let me finish, because I don't want to forget my thoughts. Yeah. Also, you're giving a red card to a guy, right? And he's angry, right? Whereas he was angry before the play because the PSG player was not given a card, or he fouled his own player. And then, so he's saying this guy is going to give this guy a card. But also the fact that you're given a card makes you angry, and you can, because of anger, take a la Negro out of context with your anger. So we can't forget, like, what happens to you emotionally when you're given a card, and which could have sent this thing in another spiral. But now the other side is, so this could all be miscommunication, but the other thing is, people are tired of racism, period. And so whether this is a miscommunication or it was intentionally and everybody read it right, this whole response by PSG players and Istanbul players is just letting the world know that we're tired of racism. So even an incident that might not have been intended to be racist, incident is just putting the world on notice that, hey man, we're just sick of this shit. Let's fix it. And I'm glad that just for that all the players stuck together and bonded and represented each other and showed mad love for each other. So there is racism in this world. It does need to be dealt with. So just for that, their reaction to this and refusing to come back out and taking each other's side is a great thing. And I think that's what I had to say on it. And go ahead.
Yeah, I think Ba said a very interesting thing when he was actually talking with
Demba Ba,
when he was talking to the main referee and the fourth official too. He was like, well, you say this, but you never say this if this is a white, this is a white player, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how often have you heard somebody say that white guy there? You never really hear that. I find like oftentimes these things, when you hear even from a cultural point of view, right? Mm-hmm. And I know this, like even in a lot of Indian languages, there are certain things that are said describing color of the skin and or even like certain physical appearances that are only said to people who don't conform to the who don't belong to the majority. So so there is a century-old subconscious bias even in things that are now part of language.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? Are you just going to hold your hands up and say, oh, it's cultural and not do anything about it? I think it's time to unlearn a lot of these things.
Right.
And that's the point of all of the awareness that's been happening over the last couple of years. And somebody who's been appointed as part of an UEFA official board, I'm sure he's gone through more trainings than any of the players go through.
Are you sure? UEFA might be so racist that they never even considered training the referees.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but this is the difference between like a student in a classroom being racist versus the teacher being racist, right? You can, the teacher, and that's I think part of the reason why Istanbul refused to take the field thereafter, because in that analogy, like if the teacher is even consciously or subconsciously has racial tendencies, you don't know where else this affects the entire the academic process. And similarly, I think what Istanbul is trying to say is that, hey, we don't have trust in this officiating group. And so tomorrow the match is going to be continued from halftime with a new set of officials. And I think what happened today, why it couldn't continue, was they were ready to take the fourth official back.
And put him in the VAR.
But put him in the VAR. These guys didn't want him in the VAR. And I think UEFA has a rule that there has to be two folks in the VAR at any place, at any point. So I think that was a very good point, that it's not just this off-the-cuff, one-off remark, right? It plays a role in people's psyches in many different ways. So who's to say that none of that was in play when he was suggesting the card to be given?
Well, I mean, this just means that I probably won't be taking a vacation to Romania soon, because they are culturally, they might not have dealt with racism. And we're gonna leave this topic here because Martin's Polish and he's gonna be on soon, and he knows more. I think Romania is an Eastern European country. I think, if I'm wrong, Martin will correct me, but he knows more about the mentality of people from that area of the world because he's Polish. So he could probably give us more info when he comes on, so we can find out. We can have a better idea of where the referee was coming from, So let's just leave that for now, because we're going to end up coming back to it. And so that game wasn't played, and it was in the same group as the Manchester United versus Leipzig game. And there's a lot of things about this game. Manchester United needed to tie to go through, and we also had a Pogba situation because of what his manager said, and his agent. Agent said the day before the game. So it's like it kind of might have destabilized the team, and so let me just read what he said. Let me see if I can find that. Pogba's agent Mino Raiola says, "Oh, this thing wants me to do the cookies, or else it won't let me read it. So let me go somewhere else. Let me try this article. Daily Mirror. Oh, you want cookies? Declared Paul Pogba's time at Manchester United as being over, and that it doesn't make sense doing another contract, and blah blah blah, and Paul doesn't feel like he can be creative in this team. And so we'll deal with the Mino Raiola comments first, and then we'll deal with the results of the game. And so here's what's your thoughts on what Mino Raiola said, and I guess I'll give mine, or do you want me to go first?
I mean, I feel like it's so predictable. Like this guy it's not the first time he's doing this, right?
Right.
It's so stupid because even if you want your client to get that new contract, you suddenly, even when it comes down to the what effect this has, you've suddenly completely devalued the value of your client, because now Manchester United have no leverage in the transfer market. So either a deal is already in place, which is why I mean, there must be something that's already happening in the back, because how stupid can you be to just go out there and sabotage not just your client and your client's team for the immediate future, but also when you're looking at something like a transfer, you're also sabotaging what can happen at that level. And Mino Raiola is he, as I said, like, this is not the first time. I think he's done that. He somehow always seems to do this before big games for Manchester United. And
he's trying to help us.
Yeah. I don't know what he's trying to do. Like, he's probably trying to give Oli an out. This is just before the Leipzig game and before the Manchester derby, you go out and say this. And Pogba, poor thing, he's just come off a great game. He pretty much got United back into the game a few days back. And the thing here is, like, does Pogba absolutely not know what Mino Raiola is about, or what
he does by now?
Like this, he should know by now, right?
Yeah.
And
the whole world knows.
And this is something that happened a few years back. You remember when Lukaku was almost joining Chelsea, and then at the last moment he joined United? He had Mino Raiola too as his agent. And from what has come out, like, everything was clear, everything was done with Lukaku. And then right at the last moment, Raiola wanted another 20% of fees on top of it. And that's the point where Chelsea backed out and he went to United. And Lukaku since has sacked Raiola,
right,
and has said things in interviews that, I should have done that much earlier. And he's actually very recently he said that the truth will come out when I write a book, or my documentary comes out, or something like that. And people, like, he's kind of hinted that he's learned from the mistake he had with having somebody like Mino Raiola as an agent.
Right.
And I think football players at that level should wisen up to it, because he's not helping. He's not there for anybody other than Mino Raiola.
Right. Because he's trying to get that transfer fee money. And the only way he can get the transfer fee money is by transfer. And he has to keep creating. And he did the same thing with Zlatan. Zlatan makes him a lot of money because Zlatan has had so many transfers, but at least Zlatan has had time to settle into teams and have a positive impact and then move on. But now he's like, hey, if I start doing this with Paul early, I can make more money. But, there are a few things with this, like Mino Raiola, like you said, and I did hear somebody say it too, about he must have a deal in the works to say something like this, because he's definitely devaluing Paul Pogba and taking away the leverage out of Manchester United hands, also taking the leverage out of his hands. This also hurts him. And he also might have done it after this weekend's game, because this weekend's game was probably based on match of the day, and when they showed all Pogba's touches. The episode was very favorable to Pogba, from even including the first half, which I didn't think he had a great first half, but they showed his touches all over the field and the goal, and they showed how effective he was as a player. So what better time when your player has been in a slump and hasn't been started? It's like, Mina doesn't know when Pogba is going to start next. So he's like, let me use this moment, right, of this, of the promotion by match of the day to try to get him on the market now after a really good game, by a reputable news football source. So it could be he's seizing the moment, but so it could be that. But this has to be dealt with first internally between Pogba and Manchester United. Like, the fans might not never have to know, but the players need to know, because if you're unhappy, you're also, it destabilizes everything. I don't care what anybody says. But also, you have to look at Manchester United, right? So Alexis Sanchez, I'll never forget this. He said when he transferred to Manchester United, and you know what he said? It's like, this thing is a mess. My agent has to get me out of here. Like,
he said he found out in the first 20 minutes of the training session or something like that.
Yeah. Right. So, and I know it was a different manager at the time.
Yeah.
But it's the same team, the same company, same corporation. And mess might mean a lot of things. And then Paul Pogba is playing in a system, right, that doesn't suit his skill. So it's completely possible that Pogba's unhappy because he's playing on a team that is helping two defenders, that one in particular, who's a captain, that they overpaid for, right? So who's not as mobile as you'd like him to be in certain situations. So Pogba has to, like, how would you feel if you had to lose some of your game to protect somebody else's game, and it takes down the value of how you are seen in the world, period? And fans shit on you, and you have the potential. Luckily, your French national coach sees you and has retained your value so that it doesn't affect you internationally. But it's like, that's the problem. Like, I'm saying, Pogba not being happy at Manchester United is a reflection of Manchester United itself. And yes, we've made good buys, but we've made bad buys. And now he might be playing in a defensive position with another midfielder to protect someone who he's better than, and he doesn't feel he should be protecting. He should be able to be free and play for Manchester United the way he came to Manchester United to play. So then there is that issue. And I want everybody who's mad at Pogba to not see that. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to shit completely on Maguire, because there are times, even this weekend, when he took the ball out the back and dribbled by people and got past the press and made good passes. But the reason why we play two defensive midfielders is to protect him from embarrassment, and that cannot be overlooked. And
which
that
basically leaves just Bruno to play as the other midfielder, right? So you don't have space for both Bruno and Pogba.
Yeah,
and you should.
So first of all, this guy has your captaincy, right? So he has your captaincy, and you have to dumb down yourself, you have to blonde the way you play to keep this guy your captain. So then there's that issue. But whatever the issue is, I don't know. This has to be fixed in-house completely. Solskjaer has to sort this out. And then I wonder, we lost to Leipzig today, but how much did Paul Pogba scoring, how much did that do to all the people, fans of Manchester United, who are mad at Paul Pogba for what his agent said and for what Paul Pogba has not come out and refuted? Did his goal, how much did his goal, and the way he scored that goal was the goal of someone who cares about Manchester United. You know what I mean? It was an effort goal. It was an energy goal. It wasn't like a tap in. It was like, I have to rise above everybody, and scored. So it was a type of goal scored the way you want Paul Pogba to play, the way you love Bruno play. So it's just, his goal today confused everything even more. You feel?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the way where we are right now with Paul Pogba, I feel like a lot of people have already made up their minds.
Right.
It's so if you're a Manchester United fan who has always been, if you believe in Paul Pogba, you would look at what he did over the weekend, look at what he did today, and be like, why is this guy not starting every game? And I kind of feel the same too, because I feel like when for United to play their best football, Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba should be starting every game, if not for, other than for rotation or injury purposes. But that rarely happens. How many games has he even started this this season? I wouldn't imagine it's more than half.
Well, Paul has I love Paul Pogba. I always defend him, and if he left, I'd have to deal with it. And because of what other players have done, and that might be it. Like, if what Raiola said yesterday, Solskjaer has heard from Raiola himself and Pogba himself, maybe that's why Solskjaer has been playing these other players and preparing the team and getting the team ready for a Pogba exit. Like, every fan who wants Pogba gone now, the only reason why they want him gone is because they're confident the way Fred has played and the fact that we have a Matic, and sometimes the way McTominay has played, not so much, but they're confident that we can win without him. So at least Solskjaer has given us that by not starting him all the time. Plus, he had Corona and was out. First of all, we didn't have a season training camp. Then he got Corona.
Yeah.
So then he wasn't fit. Then he got injured on international duty. So then he got left out of some games. And you don't want to unfit Pogba because he won't cover people. It's like you need the defensive game as well as his offensive game. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a reason for Pogba not to be happy. So what Raiola said doesn't seem like it's fabricated. There's a lot of truth to it. And
yeah, but you just don't say it though.
Yeah, you don't say it. And I don't know if Raiola's ever done this with other teams or other players in public, but he's really fucking with us. And I just hope, I want Raiola's, and I never wish this, I just hope his career is ruined, not because of this Pogba incident, but because of what he's creating in football and the hostage situation that other agents may create for other teams, which is unfair, the amount of money that you're asking for more money than a fucking player when you do a transfer.
Yeah.
That you're asking, like, he's made more money from transfer fees that he's charged teams than teams make when they sell a player that they own and have to pay. And that is crazy. I'm in show business. My agent gets 10%.
Yeah.
And we have a problem with that. Not me and my agent, but people in show business have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So for some guy to get 20 mil when you get sold for 80 or whatever the amount, is bananas.
No, that's because he catches them early, right? He catches them early. He catches them, like, I think, if I'm not wrong, Mino Raiola was the same guy who Ferguson literally at the court as "you're a twat," asked him to get out when he was trying to get a bigger paycheck for Pogba, who was 19 at the time.
Right.
That's how Pogba left the first time. So, I know there's been a lot of talk about how
he tried to get a transfer fee for a player we already had.
No, he tried to get like an insane salary for somebody who had done nothing.
Right.
Especially back then, where salaries were not that great. Back in, I think it was 2012 or something, 2011.
I'd take it.
So, and you know so Mino Raiola is going nowhere. You know who he has now? Erling Haaland, who's going to be the next big thing.
Right.
So get ready for, if you thought the whole Pogba thing was crazy, get ready for, because Haaland's now going to go from Dortmund to some club and then to another club. He's going to make him the Harlem Globetrotters of European football.
Well, I hope he ruins his own reputation. And if you're a football club, you have to learn how to deal with this guy if he's going to be an agent to one of your players, because he's pretty destructive. And it's like, is it worth having you? Do you want an agent to ruin your team? The potential, the possibility of an agent ruining your team. You have to consider that when you get a player from him. So we'll see. What do you think of Man United losing this game today?
Well, I've been having this feeling about watching a lot of United games this season where it is coming down to instances of individual brilliance, and I just don't feel that's sustainable, because and the thing is, it can work for a team like United because you have the players, the people like Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Martial, Cavani, Pogba, Greenwood. These guys can literally win you games.
Mm-hmm.
But if oftentimes you see, like, you're going down for 60, 70 minutes, nothing happens in the game. United is doing nothing. But then you just need, you need a moment to score a goal. And these guys have that level of quality where they can makes a lot out of nothing. And it's just that whether that's sustainable, maybe it's sustainable to, you see your position on the league table, right? You guys came third last season and you're not doing that bad right now.
Right.
But whether it can push you to the next level, I don't think that's something that's going to happen under Oli, because by now he's got the funds. Like, I don't think he can complain now about not being backed enough. It's almost 300 million that he spent.
He has, like, on who?
A lot of folks. I think he spent
he didn't spend that money. He got Wan-Bissaka. He got Maguire.
He got Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Bruno Fernandes, Van de Beek, Daniel James, Teles. Yeah, it's 289 million euros.
Yeah, but we need one more piece to. I mean, listen. As far as the game, like today, he's been backed, yeah. But everybody. Listen, it's still going to be on Ali, so I can't say it's not. They definitely spent some money on his behalf, but he got things that he needed.
He's definitely got. You can see like what he's trying to do,
but not completely. He hasn't been back completely. Like if you're a Chelsea fan, if Abramovich did not get you the goalkeeper after you thought you had everything, you would have considered. You'd have been, and then you wouldn't have had all those clean sheets. You'd have been like. If you're going to back somebody, you have to do it 100%, right?
Yeah.
You can't half-ass it. And that's the difference between Chelsea right now and your results and Manchester United right now and our results. Like we're getting the results of someone who was half-ass backed. You feel me?
I think, I think
not 100% back. Like you went out when the season started and you saw the first few games and you was like, we need to get the goalkeeper. We're not even going to wait. You know what I mean?
I think the goalkeeper was always going to come. It was just a matter of negotiating and getting it. Because everybody who watched Chelsea last season knew that the first guy you need to get is the goalkeeper.
But everybody who watches Manchester United knows the first person you need to get is a right-sided player. And the name of that right-sided player is Sancho. And he still plays for Dortmund. So that's 100. That's the difference when you 100%. Like if we had Sancho today, we would have went through. But also, us not going through is Ollie's fault. We won 2 games in a row against the toughest team in the group. And this goes back to the lineup that he put out against Istanbul. Like, we should have beat Istanbul the first time. And then we should have been, and we would have been completely through. And he blew it then by listen, bird in a hand is better than shit in the bush. And when you get the chance, like if you're a procrastinator, use Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as your example and your reason why not to procrastinate. Because we could have beat Istanbul the first time. He put a lineup out there to rest people, and you just have to win when you can. so that now
you can't rest until you've qualified.
You've qualified, and
Yeah.
he could have lost the last 2 games, which he did anyway, and he would have still been through. So it's Ollie's fault. He's in a situation he's in, and there's going to be people yelling Ollie out, and it's on him. He caused that on himself. And maybe this is a learning thing, you know, shit to learn, but
the problem at this level is like there's no time to learn, because you're seeing the situation with Arteta at Arsenal too, right? Like he might not even last an entire season, which you can't really judge somebody unless you've had an entire season to judge him on, right? But but so I think that's Ollie's problem. Like, he's trying to do a few things, but then he and this is something I always have a problem like across sports, when managers and coaches try to fix one problem by creating another. I think he's trying to solve United's defensive issues, but you don't do that by putting 2 DMs in every game. I can understand when you're playing like somebody like Liverpool.
How about
PSG.
2 DMs? How about 2 DMs and 5 defenders?
5 defenders, exactly.
like you did today.
You know you can only play 11, right? So of course you're gonna have you're gonna create. No wonder you can't score.
He played 7 defenders today, but I mean we needed a tie, and he's like, we just use Rashford's speed. We just need 1 breakaway.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
And breakaway goals are tough. Like, even, people say like, there are some great counter-attacking teams. Yes, but great counter-attacking teams too don't score more than like 10 goals off a counter-attack in an entire season. So it's not like you're getting a goal every day. I think we got that already.
I think we got that already.
No, I think you guys have got like 3 or 4 in the league. I don't know about Champions League.
Yeah, we got a ton, because I think the first time we played, was it Leipzig? I think we played 5 defenders. I think Tellez and Shaw played next to each other. So, yeah. So I think he's trying to do the same thing to them that we did the last time. And it just backfired. They crisscrossed us. They went from one side of the field to the next, scored, from the other side of the field to the next, scored. Yeah. They just completely threw the 5 defenders in the back line off. And Ollie, like, it had nothing to do with today. You should have just beat Istanbul. There's one easy team in the group, and you beat the shit out of that team mercilessly whenever you get a chance. And that's it. And if you don't drink blood when it's in a cup in front of you, and you spill it, then you're gonna die of thirst.
Yeah, I think as a top 6 team or a big 6 team, I don't think top 6 matters anymore after what Arsenal's been doing. But as a big 6 team, you have to clean up. That's the way the league is going. That's the way football is going. You have to clean up opposition that is on the pitch, not doesn't match up to you. And none of these teams, like for example, I remember United when they played Brighton, they could have easily lost that game. They won that game. But you won that game.
We won, but we lost.
Yeah, but that should never be a issue for United, even current United, with the kind of players Ollie has at his disposal.
But to be honest, Brighton has played every team. They played you guys tough.
They played us well.
Yeah, you guys are kind of lucky enough to beat them, right? It's like we can't just blow off Brighton like that. Like maybe some other team, but Brighton has every team that's Harry Kane had to like fake a foul for Spurs, who's a top team in the league, to beat Brighton. Like it's but I get what you're saying. Like teams similar to Brighton, we need to beat them, which we did with West Ham this week, which we did with Southampton the week before, and which we should have just did with Istanbul.
It's a very like a pugnacious nature of a team that Ollie is putting out every week, but I don't think he has the players to handle pugnacious team week over week. So either he's like he needs a lot more help in the transfer window. Like right now, if you look at Manchester United, can you pick out the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager, his philosophy is seen in those players?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
So who would you say is, somebody who's a reflection of what Ole wants to do out on the pitch? Because you see in Spurs, that DM that they got, Højbjerg, that's what
Bruno.
Okay. Yeah, because I think he was pretty insistent on Bruno. So that's a fair call. And Bruno is working.
Sancho, but he doesn't play for us.
Yeah, but like Sancho was, I think the way United went about that negotiation was completely. And it's not like Sancho's the only player in the world, right? Like there's other players who can do maybe not exactly what Sancho does, but they can do. They can have a threat from the right wing. So the fact that you guys went all in on something was made clear that you guys didn't have the money for was bad recruitment in my mind.
I think Manchester United was hoping because of COVID, Dortmund would drop the price, and they was like, nah. Yeah. So you gamble in things like that. One thing positive from today, like I don't even mind that we got knocked out for some reason, because I felt like we got knocked out 3 games ago when we lost to Istanbul. So I was looking at it today like, that's what you do when you don't, seal the deal. But I need Solskjaer to also realize that Mason Greenwood is just a really good footballer.
Yeah,
he's just a really good footballer. So you should play him more. And we don't necessarily need a Sancho. And you should play, like today he dropped back, and sometimes he was in the middle of the field being tackled by 2 players, and he'd get out of it and pass the ball forward. And before last season, even though he had a great season, they said all he does is score goals. He doesn't help the team. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. But today proved that that thing that they said about him was just as weird as the moment when I heard it. Like he's a good footballer. Like even if say we lost Pogba, like if we dropped Mason back a little bit, he would still give you wouldn't miss Pogba as much because of what this kid can do. Because he's a good footballer. He can score, but he's just good on the ball, period, and plays fearlessly. Like if you're cold-blooded in front of the goal, you're going to be cold-blooded anywhere in the park.
And he's always been a very good, like even through, because I watch a lot of youth football too, and United is always and I've seen Mason Greenwood play for those youth teams, and absolutely, like he used to carry Manchester United academy teams, and you don't do that just by being a poacher in front of goals. Right. He would literally used to be everywhere. I remember a game in the FA Youth Cup semi-final, and I was so confident that Chelsea's going to win it because we had won 5 FA Youth Cups in a row till then, and we just came up against this guy who I think he scored like 2 or 3 goals that game, and he just single-handedly pretty much won the game for United. And so those skills don't go away, And he's built pretty well too. Like he's not somebody who looks like academy player. He's built for the senior game. So yeah, I get the point that he should be getting more chances, but it's just the whole thing with Solskjaer and his lineups have been so oriented about protecting the back 4. That people keep losing out in the forward positions.
Yep, exactly. And it's like, but it's also Solskjaer's philosophy, because we can attack teams off the field and not have to worry about defending as much if we want to. And then the same way he switches the team from game to game, right? We could start the game on the front foot, score a bunch of goals, and then drop back to two central defenders. And even if they score on us first, it's the same thing that's happening in games now. You know what I mean? Where you go into attack mode. So it's like, it's Solskjaer's choices to defend the back four over attacking by defending, as opposed to defending by attacking. But I don't want to stay on Manchester United too much. Like,
I just have one last question on United. Like, do you feel Cavani should be playing in the main? Like, if you had to pick your best Manchester United 11 right now, do you think Cavani should be playing in it?
I feel like we have more than one best 11, so he could fit into one of them. I think we have two best 11s, and he could fit into one of them. You know,
I think
some players like Bruno, Bruno would be in both our best 11s. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, Rashford would be in both our best 11s. Pogba would be in one of our best 11s. Fred would be in one of our best 11s. You know what I mean? Wan-Bissaka would probably be in both our best 11s.
So it's pretty much a toss-up between Martial and Cavani then.
Yeah, because, you know, I don't know if you was on the podcast the week when we beat Southampton and Cavani scored 2 and had an assist. I was like, I said, hey, he took off Greenwood, but who's to say Greenwood wouldn't have done what Cavani did in his style in that second half? So it's no slight on Greenwood, what Cavani did. And then in last weekend, when we were down 1, Greenwood did a Cavani, you know what I mean? So it's just proving
the
that
second goal,
the second goal. So and his movement and just being all over the field and just he's faster. You know what I mean?
I think that's definitely something you're gonna have with Cavani. You will get more clinical finishing ability, but you will lose a little bit of the pace because you know that's the age he is.
Yeah, Green was just more versatile. Did you see the Barcelona Juventus game, which would have been the game to watch if I wasn't a Man United fan?
I tried seeing it, but I just could not focus on it because I had the screen open, but I was also trying to watch Chelsea and United at the same time.
Right.
So
we'll just say I'm gonna watch it later. I didn't get to watch it either, but you know, Ronaldo versus Messi, Ronaldo in different colors. Juventus beat Barcelona 3-0, and an American, Weston McKennie scored for Juventus. But not only did he score for Juventus, I had to watch it a few times to make sure the type of goal he scored wasn't Ronaldo really scoring that goal. Like somebody lays down in the air like they're a piece of cheese in between a bread sandwich and laces the ball the way he did and put in the back of the net. Like it's with Messi watching him, and Ronaldo on your team, you are rising to the occasion. It's not just some American guy on a team. He's on a team playing next to Ronaldo against Messi, 2 of the greatest players of all time. So this guy, young American, forced his way into the starting for Juventus after leaving Germany is definitely like pretty amazing. So I just want to give props where that's concerned. And you want to talk about Chelsea? Go ahead.
No, it's actually been a good week for Americans in European soccer.
Right.
McKinney, I think he scored over the weekend too.
He scored over the weekend too, yeah.
Weekend too. And then Gio Reinhardt scored for Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
And
Gio today saved the goal against.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Like the play was about to hit it in the net, and he came back and covered and just cleared it out.
Oh, okay.
And Dortmund came back from down 1-0 to win their game.
Yeah. And Pulisic obviously scored over the weekend.
Yeah. And so let's talk about Chelsea. You want to talk about today? which was like
There's
academic.
nothing much to talk about today. Yeah, it was a dead rubber, and it felt completely like a dead rubber. I think the only good thing was to see was the fact that Billy Gilmour was making a comeback. After
how was he today?
He was good. I think he got the man of the match.
Oh, don't.
He was pretty good. And this kid, Tino Angerin, made his official Chelsea debut today, and he was pretty good too. He plays as a box-to-box midfielder. He was playing on the left wing today because we are having some injury crisis with the wingers. Mm-hmm. Both Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi are out. So he made created a few good chances. But like we didn't really do much like finishing wise today. At one point it was crazy. Like we had Werner, Tammy, and Giroud playing at the same time. Like late in the game when these guys came on as subs, it was like 3 strikers playing in the front 3, but we still didn't score. So, but the only other thing of note was that Kepa played after a very, very long time. And
Kepa what?
Kepa played. He started the game after a very long time and promptly conceded from his first shot on goal. So, I was like, I just tweeted, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna group chat with some friends from other clubs, and nobody's watching Chelsea game today, right? So I just typed death, taxes, and people guessed it right. Like Kepa conceded, and man, this guy seriously again, like near post shot went pretty much under his arm. Kepa. Yeah, we could at least laugh at because this is an absolute that we had already sealed top spot in the group. So, but I was really impressed with what he did over the weekend, though.
Yeah, and what do you think of Giroud's performance? Not just last week midweek, but I watched the game of this weekend.
Seville.
Right. So it's against Sevilla. He got 4.
4.
But this weekend he was on fire. Yeah. You know, he was a threat the whole thing. I'm like, is this a phase he's going through where Giroud can look young and fresh and like a brand new forward? Or
I mean, Giroud
does he like slow down the more you play him? Like who the fuck is Giroud?
He's always slow. Like even in these games where he's getting
But he didn't look slow against Leeds, which is a fast-ass team.
I still felt like the thing is we play a little differently when we play with Giroud. We don't play with a full the kind of game that Lampard really wants us to play. But that is fine because then you're like it's a calculated gamble because you know that his finishing is of a more sophisticated. He has more experience there than some of these other guys. So and which he proved, like he got the goal, the opening goal against Leeds, and I mean. The reason why he doesn't get into the best 11 at Chelsea is the same reason why he's never really for an extended period of time. It's the lack of pace, but he compensates that with a lot of other things. I think his hold-up play is superior. His heading ability on crosses, his ability to get onto crosses of any kind actually is much superior. And right now we are a team which create a lot from wide areas. So that definitely suits him. I think the major reason why we're seeing Giroud's scoring go up a lot is that Chelsea finally have a team that creates a lot in volume. So if you can be a good finisher, you'll find a lot of joy in this team. Like Timo Werner, for example, has missed a million chances.
I know,
but he's still doing well in terms of if you look at his.
I would always put
stats.
I like today when on Sunday or this weekend, even though he assisted on the Pulisic goal, he was still mad at himself. For being a defender on the possible Giroud goal, and also he wouldn't forgive himself for the shots that Meslier saved against him when he had 2 shots, but so he wouldn't completely celebrate with Pulisic. But I mean, the speed, like that extra
That's
gear
crazy.
that he has
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the ball, where he can blow by you. You could be running, just running, and he
Yeah.
can run by you with the ball in full control. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had that speed. Like,
I think his speed was something that was always seen in Germany. But the thing with seeing things in Germany is you see the kind of high line every team defends. Like you'll see a few teams in the Premier League defend with the high line, right? But in Germany, it seems like every time I watch, every team is doing that. So oftentimes when you look at the speed, it can feel a little, you don't really know what to make of it. Like, is this speed for real?
Right.
Or does he just have so much time because of the way the defending is? But no, I mean, he does have that speed.
It's so
and
crazy.
and that's really nice, like the fact that he has the ability to like keep going and going. Because I remember with like Morata, we had the issue like he would miss a chance and his head would drop. Like you would know, like if Morata misses a chance in the first 20 minutes, you might as well just sub him out because he's going to be absolutely useless for the next 70.
Right.
So, but one is not like that. One is like he's going to keep going. And then I think even in the Southampton game, was it Southampton? Yeah, Southampton he got goals and assists, but like there was some other game where I think it was Sheffield where he missed again a lot of chances, but then he did a dummy and did a great run and created a chance for Tammy, and Tammy scored. So and same, again, that was also late in the game. This is also late in the game, which he did for Pulisic. So
he has substitute speed at the end of the game.
Yeah,
like Leeds was tired.
Yeah, and Leeds being tired is something.
Yeah, Leeds being tired is something. And somebody who's been running with Leeds players the entire game, finds this gear. It's like he's just been subbed on the field and blows by everybody. And then Pulisic, he's fast. You know what I mean? Because he blew by the Leeds players on the other side, and he was at least a substitute. And
I don't even think we've seen the best of Pulisic and Werner and Havertz yet. So
you have the entire German league playing on your team because Pulisic is from the German league. It's
I think they all speak in German too.
Yeah. So
I think the stat that came out was, and I'm pretty sure this is a very because they must have done a lot of this data analysis beforehand. So I think I have to give props to Lampard for being tactically setting up the team. The stat that came out was Chelsea is the first team in the league so far that have outrun Leeds in the game.
Oh, sure.
And we outran Leeds by 6 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
And
you outran Leeds with Giroud on your team.
With Giroud and Thiago Silva, two 35-year-olds.
Right.
So that was, I mean, the work rate by the rest of the guys. I mean, made a silly, the mistake right at the beginning from Mendy was like, oh God, what is going on here? Because we've never seen this dude make a mistake.
He came out like he was Kepa.
Kepa, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you come out, but you don't really come out. So then Zuma is like, dude, I thought you were Mendy. That's why I didn't go for it. Why did you just turn Kepa and stop in the middle? So
it looked like Kepa was playing in a Mendy mask.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, it's fine. Like first such serious mistake in 13 games. I think that's fine, but
he was overdue a mistake.
Yeah, but there were saves to be made later in the game, and he made them.
Right.
And since that chance, Leeds never really got any. I think there was a couple of saves, but then in the second half it was all Chelsea, and we could have, frankly speaking, finished the game 5 or 6-0 if Timo and Giroud had their Giroud also missed a few chances in the game.
Who?
Giroud. He had. I mean, he missed one because Werner defended it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then he missed another one where I think the keeper made a mistake and came right to Giroud, and he could have either taken another touch and gotten closer to goal, or given a pass to both Havertz and Werner who were open, but he chose to go for a long shot and missed. So I think this is really we've now played 3 games on the trot: Sevilla, Spurs, and Leeds, all of which require us to play very different styles, and I think we've done well in all of them. And
I feel like the title is between you, Spurs, and Liverpool. And what do you like? Frank was getting a lot of criticism for he's got the team. Can he be a coach? And it's before, and I was saying, hey man, you got to give the guy a chance to develop team chemistry. So now that he's had time and he's definitely developed it, and you guys have gotten all these results, what do you think of your chances of winning the title?
So for me, at the beginning of the season, my target was to always, we finished at 66 points last season, right? My target was to get past the 80 points barrier, and then we'll see. I still feel we are on course to do that. And initially, also when we are not doing well, we drew to West Brom and Southampton. I was still pretty confident that we can still get that, because I knew what was the problem there. And the moment the goalkeeper came in, you saw the way things changed. So I still feel we are on course to breach that 80 points. To win the title, I just feel like this team is not ready to win a title because
of what?
I feel like there is I don't even think Spurs is ready, by the way.
They might not be, but by the end of the season, it might be.
They might be. I just feel like we have, when it comes to the last few months, there's a certain kind of tempo to the league. You get up every Friday or Saturday and you see okay, you're 3 points off or 3 points ahead, and that pressure, these guys are not used to handling it. And we have a definite lack of leaders in the team. We have people with winning experience. We literally only have Thiago Silva, and he can't communicate with half the team.
You got Conte.
We got Conte, but Conte never talks. He's like that silent guy who'll always do his job. I don't know how about that translates to other people, affecting other people on the chair, on the pitch. So it can happen.
But Liverpool didn't have any winners.
Which is why it took them took that 17 more than 1 year. It took them I think it was Klopp one is in his 4th or 5th year, the league.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I feel we can get there definitely by next season. I just feel there are a couple of things like the leadership thing and the the winning mentality thing, which I mentioned. Also, I just feel like Liverpool and Spurs have forwards that are just way more world-class and clinical than what we have. Kane and Son or Salah or Mane in that game, they're finishing that game 6-0, 7-0. So I don't feel we have that yet. So
I think like you're saying, it's funny. I was about to disagree with you by agreeing with you, so I have nothing to say. So I'll shut up.
No, you never know, right? Your things can change, but I still feel Liverpool and surprisingly even Man City. I feel because Man City, they have had a slow start, but if you look at the table, they're not that far off either. So,
I know, and then I don't know if this stat was true after Saturday, but on Saturday, Man United had won more points in the league than even Liverpool from January to now. And that's with everybody wanting to fire, not everybody, but a lot of people wanting to fire Solskjaer. And it's how is this guy a bad coach? Nobody's thinking that Manchester United is also in the same position as
you guys are ahead of City.
Klopp, when Klopp got to, nobody's thinking this could be a Klopp situation. 1.5 more years from now, we're gonna start win some shit. I know Klopp had some titles from Bundesliga, but because Ali has none, nobody is looking at him like that. But he's on the same track. If you look at the team, he's on the same track.
If you think about it, Lampard and Oli finished on same points last season, and this season. So it's literally, I think a lot
Then
of
you
people
bought
were saying.
but then you bought a whole new team.
Yeah, but you guys had already bought a whole new team. Not a whole new team, but you guys bought enough players before that. We just had we had.
Yeah, but we with different coaches, wrong. Like your one coach has bought players that
I don't think he's bought more
coaching.
players than what because I think
but
he bought 6 players.
He bought what he needed for his system.
So that again comes down to recruitment, right? I think recruitment is a big part of a manager's job right now at the top level. You see the way Klopp went about it. I think he and Liverpool get a lot of props for that.
But Ollie's operating with holdovers. We got Lingard's a holdover. You feel me? Ollie didn't buy Lindelof. He didn't buy Bailly. He didn't buy Shaw. I could just he didn't buy. I could name. There's more players. He didn't buy Pogba.
No, but those players exist in all teams, right? The fact is that Ollie has on his record spent 289 million euros. So whether that's inflated because you guys paid extra for folks like Harry Maguire, that is again management call, right? Like why were you so insistent on going for Maguire when even Manchester City, who wanted Maguire, had backed away because of the price?
Listen, I disagreed with the price for Maguire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I knew he wasn't worth it.
And I think sometimes managers live and die by these decisions, whether when you go in for somebody and you actually vouch, because I think that was somebody that all you wanted. And now you see, if he works out, nobody's going to talk about the price. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't, and so far it looks like even Ollie you see his selection is kind of admitting that it's not working out.
But why is he captain?
Yeah. So, so I think that's where the kind of question, you didn't have these many question marks on individual decisions on somebody like Klopp.
I don't know. I'm not a Liverpool fan. Like, I don't know how Liverpool fans felt. You know what I mean? Like when I look back, I'm sure there were Liverpool fans who weren't Liverpool fans are happy with Klopp now, right? And that's all we know.
Yeah. But I'm sure they were
2 years
out.
Yeah. So, but I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So it's because he lost 2 or 3 finals.
Yeah. He lost, I think, FA Cup or League Cup final. He lost
and then the Europa League. Yeah.
And then the Champions League final. So, definitely, I am sure there were sections of the Liverpool fan base.
Yeah, and then the defense was giving up goals like crazy. So listen, Ollie has to, but Klopp had the backing and the time. Ollie needs the backing, Klopp had the complete backing and the time, right?
Yeah.
And Frank Lampard has the complete backing. So why would we win anything if we don't have what the best teams in the league have? You know what I mean? You can't expect to win as much as the people who are doing more than you, even if you spent a lot of money. You have to just like Ali should have finished off Istanbul. We have to finish off getting the people that we want to win what we want to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is also something where a lot of the things that is alleged about Ollie, stuff like him being a company man is not helpful, because suddenly if he's not happy with somebody like Sancho not coming in, for example, I think the perception is that the Woodward and the Glazers are going to keep him there because they know they can not accede to his request and he won't create a fuss.
Right.
Whereas somebody in Lampard, we haven't reached such a situation yet, so we don't know. But for sure somebody like Pep or Klopp would have, kicked a fuss, because they have also, it helps them to have the pedigree to kick up a fuss.
Mm-hmm.
So
go ahead.
So yeah, I think it's a complicated situation with Oli and United, because you look at the league table, it's not like you guys are not that far away from us. You guys you're 3 points behind.
Oh, we're 3 points
you
behind
guys have a
and
game
a game behind. Yeah,
so,
we're like right there.
Yeah.
You know? So well, it's funny. In the beginning of the season, right? Yeah. Our Champions League results is what kept the job for the job. And now at this part of the season, our Premier League situation is keeping Oli the job, and which the Premier League before was going to be the reason why he was going to get fired, but now it's the reason why he's going to keep his job. So everything is.
I think if the boardroom feels like Oli can get United to a title, they must stick with him. Else, there's no point sticking with Oli if you feel like he can just get us top four, because he's already done that, and previous managers have done that. So you're not really progressing as a club. But if you have the belief that Oli can actually make United a title challenger, forget winning the title. If you can at least come close to the title, right? If you can get to within like 5 points of the title, which right now you are, I think. Yes, you are. But I mean, with that game, assuming you win that game in hand. But like, can he do that over a 38-game season? So those are the questions I think the boardroom needs to answer.
We are
5
points behind Tottenham, 5 behind Liverpool.
Yeah.
3 behind Chelsea. 2 behind Leicester. Wait a minute, Southampton is still ahead of us?
Yeah, because they won their game in hand. I mean,
oh yeah, they won on Monday. They won on Monday. Damn, Southampton, man, Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's just go through the tables, because it's like 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
So Tottenham is number 1. They had a great win this weekend, and just jump in any time on these. Let me do this from this here. And this weekend coming up, they have Crystal Palace, who won this weekend. So we'll see how that works out. Liverpool has a layup. They got Fulham. They're second in the table, 24 points, tied with Tottenham. Yeah. Chelsea's number 3. And y'all got Everton. What do you think of your chances against Everton this week coming up?
I think right now I feel pretty confident of any game we are going up against. But we have a big run right now. I think we have Everton, West Ham. I don't know the exact order, but I think we have Everton, Aston Villa, West Ham, Arsenal, Man City, Leicester City, our next 6 games. And
you said Everton and West Ham. You can't even count them. You're supposed to beat those. You spent the money to beat those teams.
Yeah, I know, but like West Ham's been doing really well this season.
If we beat them, you're supposed to beat them. I get it. I respect West Ham, but you're supposed to beat them.
No, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to beat them, but like Aston Villa beat Liverpool 7-2. Who are like
but
champions, and
you better not let that happen to you. Only if I'd only accept that if Kepa was your goalkeeper.
Yeah, no, I feel confident, but these are games this is now a glut of games, and I would include Leeds and Spurs, we've already gone through those games. But like, these are a glut of 8 games where we will know where this project is by the end of that. So but I feel fairly confident, especially Arsenal, teams like Arsenal. I think we should be able to take care of. Martin must be very. I was hoping to hear Martin today, because
I know he would have been.
He must be
hear his optimistic take. Yeah.
After the North London derby.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Leicester's 4th, and they got Brighton Hove coming up. They have 21 points. So Leicester's doing good. They won on a last-second goal by Jamie Vardy. Scored Jamie Vardy style. Against Fulham, poor Fulham.
Yeah.
Was that Fulham this week? No, that was they were playing Sheffield United.
Chris Wilder,
Chris Wilder, man, just can't catch a break this season.
Man.
Here's the crazy thing about Sheffield. My homeboy Lloyd, who's a Villa fan, he was like, I bet you Sheffield has a bad season. They're going to be in the relegation zone a lot. And I was like, why would you say that? I don't know why he said it. I don't know how he knew it. But that motherfucker, to this point, has been 100% right. And
I don't think they've played badly, though.
No, they're just losing by margins.
Game, yeah.
They're losing by margins.
Both them and Brighton. I think Brighton should be a top half team by now.
Yeah.
Because they play well every game, but,
But at some point, if you don't turn things around, those margins become your reality. And then you start losing, you start playing the way and that reflects your points. And then nobody can say, at some point, you're going to start playing as bad as your position in the table.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen that happen. So they got to watch their back and watch it soon. So Leicester's 4th with 21 points. Southampton is 5th with 20 points, and they beat Brighton Hove. Some penalties, some shenanigans, whatever. Like I think Danny Welbeck hurts them as much as he's helped them sometimes. I think they should try to go back to their old lineup that they had before him. That's my advice for Brighton Hove, and bring him on as a sub, because he can't always. Welbeck, the crime of Welbeck's career is that everybody keeps putting him as a forward, and you should be able to tell by now he's not that cold-blooded killer that the best forwards in the world are, or even the second best tier of forwards are. But Brighton Hove is in a desperate position, so they think he's played on teams that are better than Brighton Hove as a forward, so they put him as a forward, but they're wrong. So, but Southampton has Sheffield coming up this weekend, so we'll see what happens. Manchester United is 6th. We have 19 points, and the Manchester Derby. What do you think about the Manchester Derby coming up this weekend?
I think it's lining up for a Manchester United win.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's destined to be
a
win, because we've been here before.
Yeah.
On United, when you just feel like things are going out of hand, and especially with what happened this week with Pogba and the loss, now you're out of into Europa League.
Right.
Yeah, I think 2-0 Manchester United.
Right. I feel you on that. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to survive the weekend if we lose. So I have to go with you on that.
Well, you're not. I think you're catching City at a bad time, though, because I think 2 weeks back, City was finding it really hard to score. But now they've had a couple of games where they've, did they play Fulham?
They played Burnley, beat them 5-0. And then Fulham.
They played Fulham 2-0, but that was one was a penalty. And the other was
that wasn't supposed to be a penalty.
Yeah, I don't think
there was
contact, was a penalty either. Yeah.
But there was not a foul.
And I don't think there was a penalty too. But like that, I think those goals came in way early in the first half, but they couldn't score after. So
right.
I don't know. Maybe it is a good time to play them. I don't know.
I mean, I think they're starting to get their shit together, and this could be the game. If they win, that they completely have their shit together. And we can't allow them to get their shit together. We have to make them take that step back after they've made the 2 steps forward. So I think their defense is starting to gel. That's 2 clean sheets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we need to put them in their place, because we are Manchester. We have to paint that
Manchester
red. Yeah.
Okay.
West Ham, like you said, talking about how good they are. They're 8th with 17 points. Their next game is Leeds, so that's going to be tough. There's a lot of tough games in this league, man. Everton is 9th. They have 17 points. Their next game, like we said earlier, is Chelsea. Wolves, who got just lathered by Liverpool. I think it was late Sunday, just 4-0, just disrespected, and just Liverpool just hey man, nice cute win against Arsenal, but we're no Arsenal. So they had Aston Villa, who had the week off because Newcastle, who they were supposed to play,
Oh yeah, the game got cancelled.
Because of COVID at the Newcastle grounds. Crystal Palace is 11th. They got Tottenham coming up, as we mentioned earlier on. Villa is 12th. And Villa's 12th with only 9 games played. They have 2 games in hand. So to be 12th with 2 games in hand, 15 points. Next game is Wolves, which is a tough game. We'll see what's up with that. Newcastle is 13th. They have 14 points. Their next game is West Brom. I don't even know if they're playing still. I don't know how long this COVID thing is going to affect them. So we'll see. Leeds is 14th. They have 14 points to match the number, their position in the table. They got West Ham. Arsenal is 15th. And you feel like Arteta should be given the full season, but will he? That's the question.
Well, I don't really rate Arteta a lot, but my point is that the season's gone. You're not gonna get a European spot.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think I think they'll do well to match what they did last season, which was 8th.
That's what Martin was saying.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna achieve by getting a new manager? Just let it play out. If a miracle happens, say you do something in the Europa League or something, great. And then you evaluate. Use this time to slowly try and plan. Don't go from one bad decision to another just because you haven't had the time to plan. But of course, if the situation is that somebody like who you really want as your next manager, Pochettino, Allegri, or if teachers get, I don't know, like if anybody else comes on the market, Maurizio Sarri, there was some talk about Maurizio Sarri to Arsenal, by the way. So watch out for that. So
I don't have to watch out for it. That's not my team.
It's gonna be a fun thing, though.
Pochettino to Arsenal would be more fun, and it's completely possible because Pochettino went back on saying he'll never coach Barcelona. So why not
Arsenal?
Yeah, why not go back on and coach Spurs?
So that would be my only thing in terms of like if you have to seal a manager before somebody else goes and gets him, then maybe it makes sense to make that call in the middle of the season. Otherwise, like just write it out.
Right. I like what you said. It makes sense. Let's go here real quick. Brighton Hove is 16th. They got 10 points. They play Leeds. We talked about that. Fulham is 17th. They got 7 points. They play Liverpool, so they still have 7 points. And they will have 7 points after the weekend. Burnley is 18th. And they have 6 points. And maybe they're out of fuel, and this is their last season in the Premier League. But they play Arsenal. So Arsenal, if Arteta loses to Burnley, I feel like he will be fired. Like I don't. What do you think? You're going to lose to the 18th team in the league. We understand you're not beating the first team in the league, but the 18th, and you're Arsenal. I don't know, man.
I mean, it's getting
like you said. I like what you said, but you have to beat the teams that. Yeah. So.
No, he should have beaten. Like I'm telling you, like I think I've been saying this for a while now that the way Mikel Arteta plays is just something that doesn't make sense because you keep trying to pass out the back and then play defensive counter-attacking football. Like it just doesn't make any sense, and you have no creative outlet in your team, and they start every game playing like Burnley. So I won't be surprised if they drop points to Burnley.
Man, must be crazy.
So,
just in defense of Arteta, who I thought would be great because he won some things.
Where did he win some things? Oh, you mean like the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say against Spurs, they just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net, and he played into Mourinho's hands, but They played a good game. They just got caught twice, and they weren't sharp. It's just like the ball would just. It's like missing the bus 5 times in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or just running outside and watching the boss take off. That's what their goal scoring opportunities were like. You know,
Yeah, I think that the
stat
that came out was that they had 44 crosses in the game, which is, I think, pretty high.
Yeah.
Even by Premier League standards. So, so I mean, they were definitely trying, but like the naivety that they showed with getting caught, because this wasn't a shock that Mourinho team under Spurs this season is playing that way, where they're gonna sit back, but they're gonna hit you on the counter. But the amount of space that these guys had on the counter was incredible. So
Right.
how does a coach that's doing his job not know that?
I mean, the goals were amazing. Like, listen, we also have to consider the goals against Arsenal. No goalkeeper in the world could save those goals.
Not the goalkeeper, but if you had like a few more bodies behind, knowing fully well that Spurs are gonna kill you on the counter.
Well, Xhaka pushed up on too much on the first one.
Exactly, and then Bellerin and
then Partey got injured. It's like listen, you could look at this and be like, it's missed chances and an injury at the perfect worst moment. You know, it's
But even Partey, like, he got injured. What was he doing, like walking all the way to the touchline? The game's still on.
Yeah, but Arsenal was attacking. It was a safe moment.
It's not a safe moment against Spurs. That's my point.
It wasn't. He thought it was. Yeah, he thought it was. He thought it's like, here's the thing. He probably was injured before that. And then once he saw the ball going up, and he's like, all right, we got this. And I can tell.
I mean, you wait for the ball to go out of play, you know, or like,
he should have went and laid down in front of his goal.
Yeah. Let's lay down in the middle of the goal, you know.
Go lay down in front of your own goal.
Yeah, or even in midfield. Like, he moved from midfield to go all the way from the center of the field.
Lay down, like, yeah, it's like you lay down in front of your goal, in your goal penalty box, and they'd have to stop the play.
And what do you think Thomas Partey is thinking right now?
What did Arteta? I heard Arteta was getting some flack and people calling him Arteta racist, but I didn't get to see what Arteta said to him.
What?
Just some Twitter. Somebody on Twitter's like, look at Arteta.
He did say that he was disappointed or angry in Partey for not, or maybe he called him immature or something. He definitely used strong words to, for what Partey did at that moment. I'm not sure.
But somebody just, I mean, everything is racist these days.
Yeah. But I was thinking Thomas Partey, like, he left Atletico Madrid. They're probably going to win the La Liga at the canter.
I know.
He's not. He's in the bottom half team right now.
Yeah.
So he must be wondering, like, what the hell did I do?
Hilarious. Let's go to West Brom. They're 19th. They got 6 points, doing terrible. And they lost to Crystal Palace. You know you're doing bad when Benteke scores twice. And that's all I have to say. Yeah. When Benteke, a guy that can't even score with his hands, scores on you, you're doing terrible. And then player Eze had a good game. So what?
They had a red card in that game, which I think
Pereira.
It was 1-1.
Yeah, and then that changed the game. Pereira.
Yeah.
But I saw the replay and he didn't do anything.
He
gestured towards earning a red card. And the referee went to the thing, looked at it, and he shouldn't have given it.
That's enough.
He shouldn't have. Yeah, he said but he shouldn't have given it. Like, come on, ref, you have eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's like,
I feel like it was pretty much like a 50-50. And I mean, we've seen these ones given, especially when it goes to a review. Because then you're like, when it goes to a review, then you're like, oh man, in slow motion, this looks really criminal.
No, it didn't look criminal in slow mo. It didn't even look criminal in slow motion. It's like he thought about kicking out and then he didn't.
Yeah,
but that was enough. And it's a bad call by the ref, but it changed the game. And then Sheffield United is 20th. And if you go to the Premier League table, you will see 5 red circles with L's in them, which lets you know why they are 20th. And they play Southampton, a team that is above Manchester United in the table. And Southampton's 5th, so good luck this weekend, Sheffield. Anything else? Anything you want to say?
No, I mean, I'm saying like Sheffield, they bought this guy Brewster, but they don't play him, and the problem is that
they play him. I've seen them play him.
No, not as much. Not as much.
Oh, they play him a decent amount. He just hasn't scored yet. He's young, you know.
Yeah, he's young. He's like.
Is he one of your ex guys?
He is, but not real ex. He left when he was 14, but he's from later on. He joined Liverpool's academy.
Right, that's what I thought too.
But like he's only played 300 minutes. He started just 3 games.
I mean,
you should be playing more.
It's a young player. You gotta, you know what they do with young players? They try to protect them. They try to break them in. They don't want to.
Yeah, but like you need goals. You need goals. You don't have time to wait.
But I don't think this. You ever learn something new? It takes time to learn it. No matter how much, like stand up, right? No matter how. Yeah. There was a point when I was new. No matter how many times I went on stage, I wasn't getting better.
Yeah.
And taking a step back would have probably helped more than just keep getting on. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happens with young players. And then sometimes coaches do it too much or too little. Like I feel like Solskjaer is taking too many. Is making Greenwood take too many breaks. Like he's a footballer, you play him, and you have to figure out who you're dealing with and apply the equation to get the best results. Yeah. So any last famous or unfamous words? No Martin.
No Martin.
Thank God.
No, I think it'll be. This must be the happiest time in Martin's life because like they're top of the table every week. It's not just in 2016 when they were top of the table for 15 minutes and then Alexis Sanchez scored a goal and they were gone and they never saw the top of the table after that.
Hilarious.
So now they're actually top of the table week after week. And I know it must be killing him inside because he hates Jose Mourinho, but he has to love him now.
No, but Martin loves him now. It's not even killing him.
He loves him now.
He loves him now. Like Martin would switch allegiances to get what he wants at any point. He has no problem doing that. He'll make friends with the guy who killed his father if it was going to help Spurs. If the guy was going to help Spurs. So,
yeah. No, I think the narrative for a long time from Spurs fans have been that, the Mourinho style of football is not for us.
But that's the thing. The Mourinho style of football looks good with the right team. And listen, Spurs are scoring some amazing goals. So you don't think, they don't look like they're playing like shit. Their goals are so world class. If you just watch the highlights,
Spurs look a good team.
But even if you watch the game, you're like, this is Chelsea all over again.
No, but Chelsea at least used to have like 4 or 5 such players, different makers. I think.
My battery was going to die, so I have to wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Emma Erdbrink is the producer for today. Sorry, Emma, I butchered your last name, but thank you for producing the episode. I'm Ian Edwards. Thank you, Neil Chakravarty. See y'all next week. Enjoy your football. Be safe out there. Love each other. Be careful. 1.
Thanks, guys.